Hello everyone, I'm here in Venice with a Fuji X system to really give it a try and see what sort of results I can get using Fuji camera on such a trip. What was a big question for me was exactly what to bring and how to pack the gear, and looking really to bring a system that will give me the most versatility but also be as compact as possible. So I've got the Fuji X-C1 camera, which I know has been superseded but still an excellent camera, and one that I know many photographers are still using. Has the same sensor, the same 16 megapixel sensor as the X Pro one and the XT one, and capable of excellent results. And the lenses I have with me are the 18 to 55, which is on the camera at the moment. That's the kit lens, which many of the reviews say is so much more than a kit lens, and certainly I found it to be very reliable for many different types of shots, and very versatile, and has produced some excellent results for me so far. But in addition to that, I have with me in the little Manfrotto bag here, my body will sit in the top with the 18 to 55 on, and that seems to be fine, working fine. I've got two other lenses, and I'm using these little bags that Fuji provides when you actually buy the lenses. I've got the XF 14mm lens, which I purchased from a camera dealer second hand, which is always a very good option. You save a lot of money that way. And you know, it's arrived in mint condition, so I'm very pleased with that. The 14mm I think will give me a good alternative to 18mm, in that I'll be doing quite a lot of wide landscapes or cityscapes going around Venice, but it will be interesting to see just how useful it is and whether in fact it is a little bit too wide. A lot of reviews have been saying how good the 16mm is. But my feeling is, you know, to have something very different and wider than the 18 to 55 will be a good thing to have in the bag, whereas the 16 I felt might just be a little bit similar to the 18 on the 18 to 55. And I'm not looking for a particularly fast lens. I'll be working probably f8, possibly if it's dark I might come down a bit from that, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes really, and how much I tend to go for that compared to the 18 on the zoom lens. The other lens I have with me is the 60mm macro lens. Again, this is available second hand at a really good price now. I picked this one up for around £200 from a trusted seller on eBay, and you know, it's arrived. It's in excellent condition as described, and it's actually quite a bit lighter than I thought, and that was really my thinking for going for the 14 and the 60. They're both lighter than the newer lenses. So I know the 16mm is weather sealed, but I think it does come in quite a bit heavier than the 14, and that makes a difference for a lens that most of the time you're going to be carrying around in the bag. And the 60 is quite light as well, and I reckon that's going to be lighter than the 56, so that looks like a bigger lens. Again, handy lens because it gives me a little bit more reach than the 55. And it's going to be handy possibly for headshots as well, for my kids who are with me. But also it's got the macro facility, so although it's not one-to-one magnification, it's 0.5x, which is 0.5 times magnification, so capable of some interesting close-ups. It'd be interesting to see how much use both of these lenses actually get compared to the 18 to 55. So the way I'm packing them is I'm using the little bags that come here with the lens in there, just for a little bit of extra protection. That's just going into the bottom of the bag like that, and the Manfrotto bags come with these little pieces with Velcro on, so you can just put that in there, and that seems to cover it quite nicely. And the whole thing, when sort of put together, is really very light and comfortable. So that one goes on there, in there like that, with a little red thing on top. And the camera body will sit in here with the 18 to 55. And I've got, if I can find it, I've got the little the thing that goes around it, the waterproof cover, which I then just sit on top here. And the strap I've changed, because I particularly like the strap that came with it, and I've put on this Manfrotto strap, which is from a larger bag, and that actually makes it all really very comfortable on the shoulder, and I can quite easily carry this around for a whole day with hardly noticing that I've got it. And it's got a nice flat base too, if you want to sit it down on the table just to get things out quite quickly. And some handy pockets. I've got 3 batteries in total, so one on each side here. I've got a spare memory card to give me extra capacity, and I've got one polarising filter, which is a circular polariser from Jessup's, which again we'll see if that's really needed, but I thought I would bring it anyway. And cloth, just a little cloth in here somewhere to clean, just give the lenses a bit of a wipe. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes in Venice with this camera system, and what sort of shots I can get with the lenses that I have here with me.